I wanted to thank, I'm honored. I feel humble because what it was my last work needed some courage, but it wasn't such a big courage. I think we are living in the world when courage is priceless and quite rare among filmmakers, among people of media, but in the first place, among politicians. And issue which I touched in our last film, in The Green Border, the question of the migration, the question of Europe being hopeless and powerless in facing with the intellectual and political honesty that growing issue. And I felt some kind of the anger and fear when the crisis started on my borders, on Polish borders, and when I realized that nationalistic populist government has only one answer to that crisis, orchestrated by the dictators, exterior dictators like Putin and Lukashenko, but concerning real human beings, suffering human beings, and human beings who wanted to live in the security and dignity. And it's why they try to reach Europe, the paradise. What Europe has to answer to them, changing to the kind of the fortress and using the violence and hate and racism as the only response to the conflict and crisis. Polish government was quite avant-gardish in approaching that kind of the solution, but that is over-European solution. We don't have another answer to that problem than it talks about the security and the fear of growing populism and right-wing politicians when facing the fear of the citizens, which is supported by the same politicians. We are creating the fear, and we are feeding ourselves on that fear. So when I did the film Europa, Europa, Alicia mentioned here, we shot it in 1989, that it was the year of the big change, of the fall of the communism in Eastern Europe. We became again the united continent to some extent. It was the story of the Jewish young man, boy, practically, who in order to save his life pretended that he is German, born outside of Germany, and that he is the true, on dit en français, Allemand de souche. He was believed by the German soldiers, and he became the hero of the regiment, and after the pupil of the most exclusive Hitler Youth School. Practically, he became Nazi. He felt like his fellows, and only difference was the piece of skin on his penis. He couldn't forget who he really is, that he is not the perpetrator, but the victim, because of his penis. So his penis saved his soul. When the people asked me, why the double title, I answered that Europe has two dimensions. For us in Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, after the victory of Solidarność in Poland, Europe was our dream, like today for Ukrainians. The continent, the cradle of the democracy, freedom, human rights, equality, and social justice. But the Europe is also the cradle of the most terrible crimes against humanity. It happened in the first part of the 20th century, and I understood very quickly that it can happen again, that the vaccination of the Second World War and the Holocaust, vaccination against the racism, nationalism, the national egoisms, it's starting to evaporate, that we are losing immunity, and that the crimes can come back again. Easier if we don't have the free, objective media. My other movie, Mr. Jones, which was opened successfully in France under the title L'ombre de Staline, focused on the Welsh journalist who reported the truth about Stalin's crimes in Ukraine, about the famine. His revelations have been received very badly by political class and by his fellows. He was compromised and denied of the truth by the famous correspondent of New York Times, Pulitzer Prize, today also. They never revoked his prize, laureate. And he died in mysterious circumstances, probably killed by the KGB when reporting in China. So the story of Gareth Jones, it was the name of that journalist, and the reaction to that, and the crimes in Ukraine, and what happened after all Stalin's crimes, which been never punished somehow and have been since forgiven and forgotten. Let me understand, I wanted to show it also, that in the moment when the media and journalism are not making their obvious duty, it means investigate and report facts, instead they are serving one or other political agenda, and when we have the cowardish political class and indifferent public opinion, anything can happen. And I believe that that is the situation we are living now in. We are facing, that is the imminent danger. And the journalism is facing the big challenges and crises, economical crisis due to the revolution of internet and artificial intelligence, but also the danger of the populism and polarization. The polarization is, in my opinion, the worst enemy of the journalism, of free journalism. I feel it myself. We are all the actors of that polarization, and it's much easier and economically easier to serve agenda of one bubble or other, of one side or other. And the trust of the readers or viewers is vanishing, is disappearing. We lived in Poland 8 years of quiet, especially for the freedom of speech, government, populist, nationalistic, and using the propaganda in very free way. They took over the public media, and during 8 years, those public medias became the tool of the hateful propaganda against the opposition, against the migrants, against the minorities, against LGBT+, against Germans, against Brussels, against European Union. And the people who was watching that media, and it was the majority, especially in the countryside, became somehow dependent on those hours of hate. And when finally the peace and justice, law and justice government lost the power, the new liberal government took over those media and changed it to some kind of quiet objective, quite calm, and not confrontational media. And immediately they lost 1 million of viewers. And that 1 million of viewers is suffering some kind of the drug addict reaction. The drug was taken from them. They need it. They need that hate. They need that propaganda. They need to believe that the enemy is here. And when we are able to fight that enemy with our hate, we will be safe and quiet. That is the situation in the United States of America, and we see the consequences, that it was what led to Brexit, that it is what we see in Hungary, what we've seen in Poland, what we can see very quickly in other countries, in Slovakia right now. So it's some kind of the virus which is spread over our world and makes us incapable to face real challenges and problems, which are enormous. That kind of the polarization is now in Israel, in Gaza, in most of places on that planet. It is very difficult to trust. It is very difficult to believe in some possible unity. It's very difficult not to recognize the fake news and propaganda from the real facts. Facts become not important anymore. We did the Green Border because we believed in the power of images, and somehow it was a great satisfaction to us that the film is received with such emotions, not only in Poland, but over the world. But we will not change the world with one movie. When I screened the film in Bordeaux, the young girl in the audience asked me the question exactly if I believe that I can change the world. I said that I don't believe that it's possible. And she said, okay, you cannot change the world, but you change my world. So that is the satisfaction of somebody who tries to tell what he or she believes is true. Thank you.